Hey, we made it to episode 2. Who knew?
We did it.
Yeah. Well received, I think. A lot of my friends who watched it said it was great and they learned a lot. So, thanks, Brian.
Oh man, having a great time. We had some good feedback from social media where people asked us to cover some specific topics. So that's what we're up to today.
Yeah, we're going to start with prompt engineering, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's a big topic. A few different people asked if we could show ideas about story generation using prompt engineering. And I think that's a really good intro to this.
Okay. So what are we looking at here?
Okay, so this is an idea. There are many, many ways to do this, but this is an idea for how we can use a technique called iterative prompting. That's my own name for it. There are probably other names to evolve a story idea from just a couple sentences all the way up to scenes and beats. And
Wow.
we're not going to actually use this to try to write a book.
Right.
That still doesn't work very well. I don't know if it will work very well for a long, long time. But as a collaborative tool where you work with the AI as almost like a writer's room to kick ideas off of it, it's really good. So
this is rubber ducking at its finest.
it is rubber ducking at its finest. That's right. I think so.
Okay.
So let's get right into it. What you're looking at here, if you haven't seen this before, is the playground. And most people, when they think about GPT, they think about Chat GPT, but the playground gives you more control, and it's a little closer to what developers use when they eventually want to use the API. You have additional settings that we can talk about over here if you want to. And there's more going on here that we'll get into. You'll see why this is basically just better for a lot of cases than ChatGPT. It's a little more raw, closer to the metal.
Okay. This is interesting. Yeah, let's get into the settings later, but first let's see what you've set up here in terms of your system, I guess it's called.
Okay, so the first thing I'll say about prompt engineering is that it's actually pretty easy. It's way simpler than people think. And my best advice is to just get in there and start playing with it and see how it reacts. There's a certain logic to it. I like to use Markdown to structure things. I would also use something called pseudolang normally, but I don't want to make this too complicated. Let's talk about Markdown just real quick. And
Sure.
we can look at this a little more carefully. So Markdown, for those who don't know, is a format for encoding. It's for encoding document formatting. And this just shows you, this Dellinger app is a Markdown editor. It shows you how this would render. So 1 hash is a header, 2 hashes is a subheader. You can have more hashes. There are other things, but I mostly just use the hashes. And that's really good for telling GPT, this is sort of the overall idea. This is a subordinate idea to that.
So is GPT going to read this character and the story idea, or are you going to use these as prompts?
What I'm going to do is take this prompt that we've created, which we'll look at more carefully right now.
Okay.
And this tells it about the story and who it is. So this is something that when you use ChatGPT directly, you can kind of tell it, you can definitely tell it who it is. But the system prompt, as far as I know, is defined ultimately by OpenAI, and you don't ever get to actually change it. It says things like people think they have gotten it to disclose what the system prompt is, and it is not this. It's something else. So you have a little more control when you do it this way. You can also control and edit all the messages that come out and teach it what to say that way. But so what we're doing here is we're saying, actually, it's character doctor. Let's call it story doctor. All right. So this is heading for the whole document. We're just saying this is a story.
Doctor is the name of the story?
No.
I don't know.
Story is called. It's just a Hollywood term. Script doctor is someone who comes in and fixes your script, and they charge a huge amount of money for it. And it seems like they're mostly bad at it because I don't know.
So the sentence is, you are a brilliant story doctor who creates ideas for stories. So that's what you're telling GPT here.
That's right. So I'm telling it that it's a script doctor and first telling it who it is. And the word brilliant is something that I learned in earlier versions of GPT. I don't know if it's still as important, But I found that telling it that it's brilliant yields better results than not telling it's brilliant. Like if you tell it it's a brilliant doctor, you get better advice.
Do you get more confident sounding sentences and that kind of stuff? Like, because I'm so brilliant, you know, or does it just produce better stuff?
It just seems to produce better output. It doesn't change the tone. It doesn't make it pretend to be Dr. House or anything like that. It just seems to be more brilliant.
Okay.
And that may not be the case anymore, but I still often tell it that it's brilliant. Okay, so then subheading. So the story is, every Walmart is secretly built on top of a gate to hell. Large numbers of humans are helpful for diffusing the dark energies.
This is fiction?
Yes, this is fiction.
Okay, just checking.
So large numbers of people diffuse the dark energies. So that's why they decided to build a massive discount retailer. It keeps the people flowing. And few people involved with Walmart, even the shareholders, understand the true mission, but the janitors know the truth. And they're actually an ancient order of warrior monks.
Okay, right? Just fill me in on the sci-fi here. So the whole idea is that Walmart is feeding off of the dark energy, or is it supplying the humans, which are the energy? I'm not sure which way energy is flowing here.
So Walmart is the good guys, and they don't want the hell energy. They don't want like demons to come out of the gate. So by putting people there, it diffuses the bad energy through them and keeps bad things from happening.
So are Walmarts purposely built on top of these existing gates?
Yes.
Is that the idea?
That is the idea.
So the idea is that, so Walmart therefore is saving humanity from the eminent dark energies that come out of these already existing gates of hell.
That is correct. And the last line of defense is the janitors.
The janitors know the most.
So what I want to do is I want to make you the producer who drives this and decides things, and I'll be...
Wait, I got to get a cigar. Hang on a second.
And so let me just give you an example of this, okay?
All right.
So if you want to add a message, if you want to ask it something, you click here and you say something like, so I think Order of the Janitor is a little bit weak. So hold
on. First of all, the system that's on the left here, this markdown, is that already input into GPT, or is that just for your documentation?
That is, so when I hit submit, everything that's in here is going to basically act like ChatGPT. It's going to make an API call
but it's going to use your story idea in the script doctor as well.
Yep. This is like a secret beginning prompt, like the one that's secretly embedded in ChatGPT.
I see.
And then everything else that's here. See, what you can do is you can actually give it an example of what a user would say and then what it said. And in that way, train it to act the way you want. And we'll talk about all of this more. But let's just do a simple case for now, okay?
Go ahead.
So Order of the Janitor is a little weak. Give me 20 examples. Make a few of them Latin. 20 examples, by the way, give me 20 is a great thing because the first few are usually kind of weak sauce. And then at some point, it starts coming up with things that you never would have.
All right. So this is the ancient order of warrior monks that you called the Order of the Janitor, and now you're saying it. Give me some better names.
Yep, I'm saying that's...
Order of the Stella.
Yeah, so you as the producer, you now choose which of these is going to be.
And let me see. All right, I feel better now.
I feel much better.
Let me look. Custodians of the underworld, the Brotherhood of Cleanliness Against Darkness, Militants of the Mop, that's funny. Order of the Sanitation, Sanity. All right, I'm going to pick Lineage of the Broom Knights.
Okay,
Lineage of the Broom Knights.
So here's what we do. This is starting to show you what we can do here that you can't really do in ChatGPT as easily.
Okay.
So I'm going to take Lineage of the Broom Knights, and I'm just going to take this spot where we said what it was called and change it. And then we don't need these anymore, so now they go away. And we can just keep starting conversations about different things that we want to improve.
Okay. So right now, all right. Okay. All right. Good.
And that's why it's iterative prompting, because
Yeah.
you're using, there are much more sophisticated versions of this, but you are using the output to create the input.
I get it.
Okay. So back to our little storyboard over here. We want to enrich the story idea. So I think we need to ask it, unless there's anything else about the world that you want to tweak, producer Carl.
Well, I mean, I kind of had to ask you about which direction the energy flowed and all that stuff, and that wasn't really clear from the story idea. So, but I mean, I think that's on us, isn't it, to clarify the story idea, or maybe I just didn't read it correctly.
No, I think you're probably right. So let's just add something in here as humans that tweaks this. Every Walmart is secretly built on top of a gate to hell, defending humanity from the darkness. There we go.
Okay. How about an existing gate to hell? That tells it that, the Walmart isn't building the gate to hell, which was one thing I needed to clarify.
Okay. Now it should be clear. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got our nucleus here, and we're going to just add on to this as we go. So, enrich story idea, generate characters. Let's actually come up with like what's going to happen in this story. Like, give me 20 brief ideas for what could happen in this story.
Let's narrow it down. Not 20.
Not
5.
20? 5. But you get better results with 20,
we have to.
Well,
yeah, but we have to. I guess we could add it out, but I want everybody to be able to read this and take the time to read it.
Okay. Well, let's try it.
The breakout. A precocious teenage customer stumbles upon the evil lurking beneath the store when he accidentally discovers a hidden passage during a store-wide hide-and-seek game. His exposure to the darkness awakens a monster from the other side, causing chaos. The Broom Knights, yeah, the lineage of the Broom Knights, that's right. The Broom Knights must step up and fight back to protect the unsuspecting customers and shove the monster back into the abyss. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. We could stop there and just use that if you want.
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's do that. The breakout.
Okay. So the way that I work with this is there's a lot of skimming. I'm generating a ton of content and just trying to find the most interesting things, and I go kind of fast.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to actually add another section here with this. And by the way, this, for those who don't know, this is also markdown. This means this is bold. So I'm going to say, I'm going to make another subcategory, and we'll call this, let's call this the world.
Okay.
Story world.
How about the backstory?
Sure. Producer Carl. And this is the story idea. All right. So now we're going to delete this again. We could keep going. If we wanted to ask it like, give me 20 more of these, take this one and do something different with it. You could just keep talking, but I don't want to.
Now you're going to get into the meat of this idea, right?
Yeah, we are getting into the meat of it. So we need to flesh this out. Okay. So back over here, enrich story idea. First of all, is this enough? Do we want to know? I'd like to know how this ends. Maybe.
Okay.
Give me 5 great ideas for how this story could end. I just find when I'm actually writing that knowing the ending is helpful.
Yeah, of course. All right. The winner's circle. The precocious teenager who accidentally caused the chaos turns out to be a crucial part of the Broom Knights' plan. Guided by the Knights, he manages to lure the monster back to the gate, wins the store-wide hide-and-seek game, and unknowingly saves humanity by doing so. It's not bad. I mean, it's a little bit of a twist, but not that much of a twist, right?
Right.
Can you add to that, give me 5 great ideas for how this story could end, each with a twist?
Ooh.
I mean, each with a good twist.
Yeah. And by the way, see down here, it stopped. That's because the maximum length is set to 256.
Okay.
I'll just make it longer.
All right.
Each one. What was the era in Hollywood where everything had to have better and better twists?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And the wording you use matters. Like if I said a shocking twist or a surprising twist, it would probably generate something different. But
Right.
I want to just
say
see
a
what it
twist.
does with twist.
All right.
Yep. And I want to make sure I didn't put a space at the end there.
After successfully battling the monster back into the abyss, the youngest Broom Knight decides to train the teenager who accidentally unleashed the beast. It's revealed that the teenager has a natural gift for battling the darkness and is destined to be part of the Broom Knights. The shoving of the monster back into the abyss was only possible because of this young prodigy unknowingly utilizing his power. So that's the Harry Potter twist.
Sure.
I would call that.
Pretty common in fantasy.
Yeah. Modern pandemonium. The Broom Knight's attempt to battle the monster ends up opening a gateway. I like gateways, allowing more creatures to escape from hell. In a surprising twist, the escaped creatures do not wreak havoc as expected. Instead, they start shopping, becoming regular customers, and blending into humanity. Realizing the creatures are no threat outside the Dominion, the Broom Knights allow them to remain in the human world and Walmart sales skyrocket. No, this is really good. I like number 2 already because it leaves the door open for the next book or the next series or the next episode in which one of those monsters turned great humans goes rogue.
I love it. You want to just go with that?
Let's go with that. Modern pandemonium.
Okay. Now, just a quick note here. If we wanted to, we could actually change this output. That's something you definitely can't do with ChatGPT. You could change this, and the next time I ask it for 5 more ideas, it would go with whatever format or input we gave it. So
I'm not following.
Okay, I'm gonna copy this off to just to show you this idea. I'm gonna copy this off to a secret notepad on the corner over here so that I don't lose it. But I'm going to take this and I'm going to make it a different format. So let's say something like New Guardian, battle monster. We're just going to change it to a different format. Back to the abyss. Our janitors. We'll make it short and a little more formatted.
Okay.
And we'll say twist. What was the twist on that one? It was something
I don't remember. That was Harry Potter. The Harry Potter thing.
Teenager discovers he is a potential.
He's a wizard and has a lightning bolt on his forehead.
Powers. All right. Okay. So I may be able to do just one of these.
Okay.
And then I'll say, give me 5 more like that.
Okay. Oh, interesting. I like that. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to go super deep on this right now, but these kinds of capabilities are very powerful. Being able to teach it what to do. That's why I say that talking to ChatGPT is more like it tricks you into thinking you're talking to a person.
Right.
But in reality, what you're doing is closer to training a model because you can teach it what kind of output you want. If we rhymed every time or spoke in some really obscure dialect,
give me more like this. Wow.
Yeah,
I like
it'll just keep learning from the context that you give
I don't like it. I love it.
I like that energy. Okay, so we'll add this.
Modern pandemonium. So what are you going to call this? Ending?
Yeah. In fact, I don't think we want the modern pandemonium
I don't think so.
part.
That was just
kind of
its label.
We'll say story ending.
Story ending.
So back to our guiding light here.
Mm-hmm.
I think now we can move on to generating characters and then come back to the outline. We didn't have to make the ending first. I just like to know where it's going to end so we can be sure to land on it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, every author has an ending in mind, don't they? I mean, especially for sci-fi and certainly mystery.
That's the idea. Okay, so let's tell it to generate characters now. So now instead of give me 20, I think I'm going to ask it to make sets of characters that'll work well in this story.
Oh,
and
yeah,
we'll just have
cool.
we'll just do it more than once if we need to.
Right.
Or we could turn this into a real conversation where we just keep kind of going through until we have the character. Let's do that.
Okay.
So I'll say, give me a few brief character ideas. We may want to teach it how we want our character ideas to come out. We may want it in a format like name.
So what you would do is say character idea, write something out, and then say, give me 5 more like that.
Yeah, in fact, watch this. Give me one character idea that would fit in this story. What I'm doing right now is mining it for content because I don't want to think about it. And I'm going to use the content it creates to tell it the format and then redo the whole process.
Excellent.
Which is just second nature to me now. As I say it, it sounds crazy, but make it brief. You can't really say make it 3 sentences or less. It's not great at that, but
doesn't understand numbers.
Not very well. Nope.
All right. Sam Jenkins, a seemingly ordinary middle-aged janitor. Is it my imagination, or is this a very white-sounding story? And why is that?
Because we're a couple of white guys.
Well, but yeah, I mean, I get that, but it doesn't know that, right? Why Sam Jenkins? Why not?
Right.
Well, Sam Jenkins is kind of an American name. I guess it could be anything, but, it wouldn't say, Jose Garcia or something. Whatever.
Well,
I'm just making an observation.
We could ask it to,
yes, you could. You could say, make all the characters, I make all the characters in this story, diverse.
In fact, we could even do something like, this
objectives. Yeah.
Create a culturally diverse cast of characters that is no more than 30% white.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. So now you could ask it again, right? You could close out that assistant thing that it did and ask it again, right?
Yes, you could. I actually kind of like that one, but
it was pretty good.
Let's do that. Yep.
Here we go.
Carlos,
look at that.
Venez.
The middle-aged veteran broom knight of Latino descent who holds an encyclopedic knowledge of demon lore and custodial secrets. CJ is stoic and withdrawn, often seen conversing with his mop. Which the other janitors presume is a witch's broom from the old world. I love that.
That is awesome.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, this is amazing. I'm just in awe here. Gives CJ a dark secret. CJ's dark secret is that he himself is a half-demon a result of a forbidden love between his mother and a demon who had escaped from the Hell Gate long ago. This is the real reason why CJ has an advanced understanding of demon lore and why he's always been so adept at handling the dark energies that emanate from the gate. Dude, this is incredible.
It's pretty good. So what I want to do is take these two things. I think maybe every character has a dark secret just for funs.
Okay.
And so we will format this in this prompt, and then that'll become the template that it will use to generate more characters.
Great.
So I'm just going to start typing. We'll say name, and I'm going to steal this. Background, the middle-aged veteran from night. Yeah, that's probably good for background. And then we'll say secret.
Yeah.
And I'll add some emphasis to this to tell it, that might help it understand that these are important.
So is it understanding the markdown as you just insinuated? Is it understanding that as sort of, important? Anything that's
It definitely does. It understands markdown. And when we get into pseudolang, I'm going to totally blow your mind.
Okay.
Because it's trained on, just a quick digression, it's trained on markdown. So it knows markdown. It's seen a lot of markdown documents. It's begun to understand what it means. But it's also trained on code. And we don't know for sure what the foundational model for GPT-4 is, but previous models, think GPT 3.5, is actually based on the code generation model. And that means it understands code so well you could actually structure all this as like functions. And the same way that I'm using Markdown to, it's actually pretty clever to use Markdown to structure information. And if you use code to structure information, you can do magic.
Wow.
You can do awesome things. And we'll talk about that sometime.
Okay. One thing, remind us what GPT stands for.
It is Generative Pre-trained Transformer.
Okay.
All right. Let's reset back to this. So I might have to give it a couple of examples before it really starts to click with this. But what I'm going to do is remove this part.
Right.
And now I'm going to say, give me
a few more characters.
And I'll even say using the same template.
Okay. Using the same template.
It'll know what I mean.
Cool.
I probably didn't have to say using the same template.
Name, Odessa D. Washington. Background, a middle-aged African-American woman who is a broom knight due to family tradition. Dee's great-grandmother was a founding member of the Broom Knights. She carries a humble demeanor but is quick with her broom, both in cleaning and combat. Wow, she's known for her wise sayings and comforting presence. Secret. Dee possesses clairvoyant powers which allow her to sense the adversary's next move, but she keeps them secret as she fears others might see her as a threat or a freak.
Okay, so we're going to go fast here. So one thing you have to think about with GPT is token size. And I'm going to
token size. What's that? That's not maximum length.
It is. It's the maximum length.
Okay.
So I'm actually going to pull the tokenizer over here, and just to see where we're at, I'm going to take this part and I'm going to paste it in here. And so our main system prompt payload is now 322 tokens.
Does that mean characters?
That means you actually see how it translates.
Okay.
There is a relationship of 100 tokens is about 75 words.
Oh, okay.
And we have 8,000 to work with in GPT.
Okay.
So GPT-4 rather. GPT-3 had, I think it was 4,000. I'm losing track now because there's so many different ones. There's also a new model that's in beta for GPT 3.5 that has 16K, and a GPT-4 model that's coming sometime that's 32K.
Okay.
So the context size is getting bigger and bigger.
So that reminds me, can you tell me briefly the difference between GPT-3 and GPT-4?
Yeah. Well, everything's just better in GPT-4. That's the easiest way to think about it. And the most important thing is that the token size has increased.
Okay.
From roughly 4,000, if I'm not mistaken, to roughly 8,000, which is a huge leap.
And does that mean your context will stick around for longer and it's not going to ask you to log in again or start a new conversation?
Yeah. If you're talking to ChatGPT in the traditional way, which is not what we're doing here, it only has a context window of 8,000 tokens. So as you continue to talk to it, things will fall off the end.
Okay.
Like it'll push things off the top. So it'll start to lose the first things you told it. And if the first thing you told it was the entire context of what you're doing, like this, that's important. Now, there are other technologies too that I could briefly touch on that are really interesting in this space. This is not really accessible to people who are just talking to, chatting with it like this. But vector databases are emerging as a way to provide long-term memory to large language models. You have to have code involved. You have to have this feeding into some program that's like orchestrating things. And we can get into all that stuff later on.
Okay.
But that basically allows you to push a chunk of text up to the cloud and then later on say, hey, do I have any text like that? Pull it down and implant that into a prompt as needed. It's really cool.
Okay, let's get back to our story here.
Yes, I digress constantly. All right, so we've created some people. I'm not even going to go super deep on this. Let's just take the top couple.
Okay.
And oh wow, this one comes from Maori Warriors. I think I have to keep that one. Oh, okay. That one's good. And we'll keep the other ones.
Okay.
I didn't even read them. So I really like CJ. So we're also going to take CJ.
Okay.
And I'm going to edit these all together and take them all.
Yep.
And overwrite this. And we need a main character. We need this character for the precocious teenager.
Right.
So I'll say, give me a couple ideas for the precocious teenager. And that shouldn't be there. Okay, submit. And what's interesting, when you're working with this, I often find myself wanting to say thanks or to be polite,
right,
and talk to it like a person, but it's not a person.
It's not a person. I found
that impulse to.
I found it difficult to resist that urge too.
I mean, it's for me. Sometimes I do say thanks. Occasionally, it does so good, especially with code, that I want to say I do say thanks, even though I know it's a robot. Yeah,
this is awesome.
That was an awesome regular expression.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a bunch of ideas here. Twist of this. So look at this. It actually changed
twist in the story.
Yeah. So this means that we didn't give it enough examples, but I actually do kind of like what it did here. This is actually kind of better for the main character.
Let me read Isha Patel. Isha is an Indian American girl, extremely bright and perpetually curious, with a love of puzzles and riddles. She's known for her quick wit and unending energy. She has a deep fascination for myths and legends, fostered by stories told by her grandparents. I love it already. Twist in the story. The hide-and-seek game was actually a complex puzzle of her own design, so she could explore the off-limits areas of Walmart. The discovery of the gate to hell and the lore of the Broom Knights validates her belief in the supernatural. I like that.
That's pretty good.
Let's go with that as the main character.
Okay. Just a quick, I was skimming some of these down here too. These are also fun ideas. We will use the top one, but this one's like a vlogger who stumbles upon it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this one was in Walmart. That's part of their therapy.
Okay. That's good
so
too.
It is pretty good. We'll just take the top one. We want to keep moving. So we'll say these need to be structured a little bit. So I'm going to take this. We're actually going to take all this and put it in here as part of our system prompt.
Right.
We could just continue talking to it,
right? But
I like working this way and not clutter.
Sure,
I like to really control the input.
Yeah.
So we will call.
So you want to say Isha is the main character? Yeah.
Yeah. We'll actually make this whole section characters.
Okay.
And then we'll say, or maybe, and then we'll say 3 means smaller. So we'll say main character, and then we'll say Broom Knights. Okay. So I think we have satisfied the generate characters section of this. So we're going to start generating a rough outline.
Very cool.
So we'll say everyone knows the 3-act structure. So we'll say, and you could, by the way, there are lots of different systems.
Put your character up a tree.
Yep. There are many different narrative structures that are possible to use. Everything from Snowflake. There's a bunch of them. You could tell it to do different ones, but I'm going to say, using the 3-act structure, actually create a 3-act structure for this story.
Okay. That's it.
Yes. And hopefully the story ending the story ending we gave it will guide the entire thing.
Yeah.
I hope. Let's see what happens.
Okay, let me read this. Act 1, setup. The story begins with Isha, an inquisitive teenager, visiting the local Walmart. She has devised a hide-and-seek game as a clever ruse to explore the store's restricted areas. Then she stumbles upon the underground passage, an ancient gate to hell, triggering the release of a monstrous demon. The ensuing chaos captures the attention of the Broom Knights, who spring into action. Great. Conflict established. Act 2, confrontation. Despite their best attempts, the Broom Knights are overwhelmed due to the monster's immense power. They retreat and regroup where Isha inadvertently stumbles upon them. The Knights expose their true identities and their mission to Isha, inviting her into their world. With her unique analytical skills, Isha assists the Broom Knights in deciphering an ancient prophecy that suggests the gateway must be opened to send the demon back. However, this could result in more monsters escaping from hell. After contemplating the risks, the team decides to move forward with a plan. leading to a series of training montages and dynamic team-building experiences. I love how it just put that corporate Walmart stuff in there.
Yeah. Trust falls.
Meanwhile, the monster continues wreaking havoc, causing panic and turmoil among the shoppers and staff. An urgency and ticking time bomb element is introduced as the monster's power seems to be increasing and it's becoming more destructive. Act 3, Resolution. The climax ensues as the knights confront the monster again, opening the gateway as planned. As expected, more creatures from hell emerge. However, in a surprising twist, the creatures are more interested in shopping at Walmart than causing chaos. The monster is defeated and sent back through the gate, but the other creatures remain, becoming part of everyday human life and significantly boosting Walmart's sales as they turned out to be harmless and, in fact, love shopping. In the end, Isha is offered a position within the Broom Knights and a new normal begins, setting the stage for possible sequels. Hey, I said that, didn't I? The Knights continue watching over the gate, prepared to intervene if necessary, but also enjoying the lighter side of their job, interacting with these new customers. This is great.
Okay. I like how I hadn't really thought of this, but I like the janitors kind of being enmeshed in the corporate culture of Walmart.
Yeah.
Okay, so I actually, right off... Yep. So this actually is good.
Yeah.
I think what I would do is probably iterate on this the same way we did with the story and flesh it out. And because we're getting a little short on time, we've got the outline. Let's just cut right to scenes and beats.
Okay.
And maybe we'll do act 1 and stop.
Okay.
But we can flesh it out as we go. So I'll actually leave this here.
Okay.
As a message, and we'll say,
generate the scenes and the beats.
Let's focus on scene 1 or
act 1.
Act 1, and flesh this out with scenes and beats.
And you're not even saying how many scenes or how many beats you're going to let it decide.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just see. We'll just see what it does and decide if that seems reasonable.
You know, before I saw this, I thought the whole idea of a prompt engineer getting a 6-figure salary was kind of silly. And now I'm not so sure. I mean, you are essentially coming up with some great ideas. You're not writing anything yet, really, but you're generating the bones of a movie or a novel or whatever.
Yeah, and imagine. So this is where I think most of the big platforms like Jarvis are kind of getting it wrong.
I don't know what Jarvis is.
Oh, it's a platform that it's a thin wrapper on top of GPT that generates like marketing content, things like that. But what they're missing is making this easier. You know, what we need is platforms that allow us to curate content better, and have pipelines where people can improve them and kick them back, and more people can be involved easily. There's a huge opportunity still. It's very early days.
Okay.
But yeah, prompt engineers, there's a lot to it. And I'm still occasionally see things on like the OpenAI Discord that make me think that I don't know as much as I think. People are very good at it. All right. So scene 1, normal world. You want to read it?
Yeah.
Or just kind of skim through?
No, I'll read it. Here. Life as it is, showing the hustle bustle of Walmart with Isha Patel, an average yet precocious teenager shopping along with her family. Scenes of her curiosity, intelligence, and love for puzzles are incorporated with her observing things keenly, asking clever questions, and reading a book on ancient symbols. Scene 2, the game begins. Isha crafts a complex game of hide and seek, indirectly involving the customers and staff, creating a fun, chaotic atmosphere. A series of lighthearted moments as people engage in the game. I wonder if the janitors are included. She did say staff, so okay. Scene 3, the discovery. Amidst the game, Isha, with her sharp mind, discovers a restricted area in the store, a door marked with an unfamiliar symbol consistent with her book's symbols. Her Her curiosity piqued. She slips away to investigate. Scene 4, the unveiling. Isha manages to unlock the door, revealing the ancient gate to hell unknown to her. The gate resonates dark energy, awakening a dormant monster beneath the store. Scene 5, Broom Night Radar. This is what I was saying. Increases in dark energy are tracked by the Broom Knights. They sense the unleashed horror and prepare for combat. A hidden command center underneath the store is revealed where the Broom Knights observe energy fluctuations on their monitors. CJD, Ji-yeon, and Tam spring into action. Scene 6, Unleashing Chaos. The surface of Walmart is abruptly disrupted as the newly awakened monster wreaks havoc, creating panic among the customers. In the moment of crisis, some unexpected janitors start moving against the chaos toward the source of the disturbance. I mean, I can see this as plain as day in my head, right? Scene 4, Intervention of the Knights. The Broom Knights make their first attempt to quell the beast. Despite their skills, they are overwhelmed by the monster's power and retreat as necessary. Their retreat marks the end of Act 1 and sets up the direct conflict in Act 2. They gear up for a bigger challenge, but they also realize they need to understand the situation better, leading to Isha's unlikely alliance in the next act.
Okay, so this is going really well. I feel like if I was writing this, if I was really trying to create a story, I'd probably do a lot more work.
Yeah.
You know, I'd love it if there was a platform where these became little sticky notes that you could move around, because that's what real writers and script writers do.
Right.
But we could do it by hand, by copying and pasting and moving things. But what I want to do is just zoom right through and get to story beats so we can see how granular we can get.
So let's get to like scene 6, because that looks really action packed.
You want to cut to scene 6 and do the beats for that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's focus on generating story beats for these scenes. Let's start with scene 6.
So just tell everybody what a beat is.
Give me a second to look that up.
Well, from what I understand from script writing, it's a unit of time. Like a couple of beats is a pause. So, but I don't know what it means in this case.
I may be using that wrong, but what I really mean is I want to outline the scene more.
Okay. Let's see what it says.
Maybe I'm using it wrong, and we'll find out.
Story beats. Nope, that's it. You're right.
Doing it. Okay.
Right. So basically it's breaking these down into shots, if you will. Right? Think of them as shots. Beat 1, Awakening the Monster. The scene begins with a low rumbling sound which grows progressively louder. Shelves shake and products begin to fall off. Okay, so this is more than just one scene. The source of the sound is traced back to the door that Isha had opened. Out from it steps a monstrous creature, its figure veiled in a shroud of darkness. Beat 2, Initial response. Customers and Walmart employees react with shock and fear. Some run toward the exits. Others hide behind shelves. Panic ensues as screams fill the store. All right, I get it.
Yeah. That's what you need to know. So you could proceed from here and try to get it to actually write this.
So could you say, write a script, like a screenwriter's script for this scene? Because, there's a whole script writing language and everything.
Yes, you could ask it to. As you get more granular, you have to be more and more hands-on. In fact, I would be extremely hands-on with this entire thing. I would spend a lot of time in here. But let's say, write scene 6 in a screenplay format.
Yeah, complete with dialogue.
Yes, complete with dialogue and camera instructions.
Yep. Great. This is awesome.
Yeah, that is very screenplay-ish.
Internal Walmart day. Boisterous sounds of shoppers and cash registers provide a rhythmic backdrop to our scene. Suddenly, the lights flicker. You see Isha Patel, 16, bookish and mischievous, standing near an old door. Its symbol identical to one from her book. All right. So I'm skimming this and it looks amazing.
We could do like a table read,
Okay. Sure.
although only Isha's talking.
Yeah.
No one else is talking besides Isha.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Just having like an internal. So you can see, the limit you run into is you've got 20-ish pages,
Right.
25 pages maybe of space here. So you're not going to be able to,
Right.
without summarizing things a lot,
Mm.
it's difficult to continue. You could do these one at a time.
Mhm.
Obviously we have enough room to do one scene.
It is.
So you could do them one at a time and then paste them together, and you've kind of got a screenplay, but it won't be
Yeah, of course.
as cohesive as you might want it to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So now I'm wondering about the the Screen Guild, Actors Screen Guild writers strike and all of that.
Yes.
And this is feeding very nicely into that rhetoric that, the AI is taking their jobs, et cetera. What do you know about that?
Well, I know that it's one of the major factors in the strike. They don't like this technology. They're threatened by it. And I don't really have an opinion about that. I would definitely not want to see, I don't feel like this is something that should cause writers to lose their jobs. I feel like it's a tool that you should use. If some studio decided to try and just create content based on this, they would fail.
Yeah.
It would not be as good.
It's pretty basic, isn't it?
Yeah, it needs, if I was trying to create something with this, I would spend days or longer using this and iterating with it and just feeding it back to itself and getting ideas and changing the dialogue and trying things out.
And ultimately,
so
it comes down to you to make the creative decisions, right? I mean, it gives you some options, but you started with the story premise. You started with, how the characters should be named or culturally where they're from. You started with, it gave you some suggestions for twists and plots, but you picked one, and maybe you have one yourself, and now it's just fleshing out ideas for you to pick from. So, it's interesting.
Yeah, I think it should let us work faster and better,
Right.
but I can understand why. I don't know exactly what forces are happening and are taking place in their world.
Dark forces.
Maybe they have seen people lose their jobs
forces, like the ones
Yeah, I'm sure there are
emanating
people-
from Walmart.
That's right. It's probably just like that.
Probably.
Yep. Yeah, they probably have real threats in their world that they're working against here. So I hope I can watch Stranger Things in 2025.
Yeah.
And that the strike ends.
Yeah, me too. Well, wow, this is mind-blowing and a good introduction to prompt engineering and the playground. Wow. What a great tool.
There's a lot of power.
Yeah. All right, Brian, thanks. I'll see you next week.
Thanks, Carl.
All right. Bye-bye.